Those present in the meeting today, by participating in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The Mayor and/or General Manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory, otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. Call for apologies.
Yeah, I've got one from Councillor Page.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Could we have a mover and a seconder for the acceptance of the apologies? Moved Councillor Chandler, seconded Councillor Gallagher. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Nil leave of absence. Call on Councillor Boland to deliver the prayer.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and the true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Acknowledgement country, Councillor Gallagher.
Yes, I do acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet, the land of the Winnicali people, and pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Jewett.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919 to 1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and future.
Thank you, Councillor Jewett. The first public forum session of 15 minutes duration will consider submissions from the public regarding matters listed for consideration at this meeting and also in general matters. The public have been advised through notices in the Barrier Truth and on Council's website to register by 4 p.m. today if they wish to address Council during the public forum session. Members of the public who have registered to address Council will be given preference, and then if time permits, anyone else present in the public gallery may address Council. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes to address Council. We had nil registrations by the deadline. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak? No. Could we have a mover for the confirmation of minutes?
The minutes.
Moved Councillor Hickey, seconded Councillor Allgate. You wish to speak to him, Councillor?
No,
Councillor Allgate. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Disclosures of interest? No disclosures of interest. Mayoral minute. Mayoral minute item number 1, Minister Awards for Women in Local Government. The Mayoral minute 2023 dated October 5, 2023 be received. That Councillor Turley be congratulated on receiving the 2023 Councillor Lillian Brady OAM Award at the Ministers Awards for Women in Local Government event held at New South Wales Parliament House on Wednesday, 4th of October 2023. The Council retrospectively approves Councillor Brown's travel to Sydney to represent Council at the Ministers' Award for Women in Local Government event on Wednesday, the 4th of October. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Jewett. Just congratulations to Councillor Turley. Well done, Councillor Turley. Well deserved. Do we have any other speakers?
Yeah, congratulations. I hope I'm still doing what I'm learning today. Well done.
All those in favour? Oh, sorry. Yes, Councillor Turley.
Thank you. And look, can I thank you, Councillor Mayor Kennedy, and for this mayoral minute. And certainly it was a great shock and honour to receive this. And I just want to also thank Minister Ron Honig and Minister Jodie Harrison, as they were the nominees for this award. So again, great honour. It was such a pleasure to have.
Quite happy to add that as number 4, if you like, Councillor Turley.
Thank you. And it was certainly such a, a surprise all up. But can I say, to have the GM and to have Marion in the audience, it was certainly was the biggest part of it all. So thank you for that.
Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Mayoral minute number 2, item 2, mayoral minute number 2123 dated October 13, 2023 be received. That Council congratulate Mrs. Christine Adams on being selected as a finalist in the 2023 awards Australia for the Community Achievement Award, New South Wales Government Individual Excellence in Crown Land Management Award, and wish her success in the finals award adjudication. Do we have a seconded councillor Turley? Congratulations to Christine. I do hope that she does win this. She just recently got a Volunteers Award through the New South Wales Government, which was thoroughly deserved as well. So very best wishes to Christine Adams. Any further speakers? All those in favour? Oh, yes, councillor Turley.
I know, I was just going to say it's such a great achievement. And if you think about Crown Land Management Award, the work that's done by the former councillor and deputy mayor looking after the Sulphide Street Railway Museum is certainly a credit to her. Her energy is unimaginable. I just cannot understand how she digs deep for all those organisations that she's involved with. But her passion for Broken Hill is unquestionable, and we certainly welcome her well for this award.
Yes, she did give just a short speech at the New South Wales Award, and what her passion is and has become more so is the history of Broken Hill and history in general. So all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3, mayoral minute. The mayoral minute number 2023 dated October 19, 23 be received. That Broken Hill City Council endorse the following recommendations listed in the Country Mayors Association of New South Wales report into crime, law and order, and call on the local member for Barwon, Mr. Roy Butler MP, to support the establishment of parliamentary inquiry with the suggested terms of reference in the document. That Broken Hill City Council calls on all members of the New South Wales Parliament to commit to a bipartisan support to establish a parliamentary inquiry into and report on the rate of crime in all categories reported by the Bureau of Crime Statistics and Research in regional, rural and remote New South Wales, specifically focusing on the inequity between metro and regional local government areas. B, that Broken Hill City Council calls on all members of New South Wales Parliament to commit to a bipartisan support to increase spending on the New South Wales Police Force to increase frontline policing numbers in regional, rural and remote New South Wales regions most need. That Broken Hill City Council calls on the New South Wales Government to commit to the minimum staffing agreements known in the New South Wales Police Force as first response agreements for non-24-hour police stations, all of which are located in regional, rural and remote New South Wales local government areas. But D, that the Broken Hill City Council calls on the New South Wales Government to review the current formula used to assess staffing levels, including the universal agreed outdated current model for those local government areas that do have a first response agreement in place. Do we have a seconder for that?
Second that way.
Councillor Gallagher. Would you like to speak to it, Councillor Gallagher, before I do?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Look, I thoroughly commend the option of first response agreements, but at non-24-hour stations at the present stage, all 24-hour stations within the western part of New South Wales and all over the state do have first response or minimum response agreements. Yeah, it's very difficult to have that first response in the outer stations or the outstations, but it'd be a great benefit for the communities that do suffer from non-24-hour stations. So I commend this it's mayoral minute to the end, but to actually try to get a first response or a minimum staffing agreement for non-24-hour stations is going to be very difficult, but I'm sure the parliamentary inquiry and the experts that have the knowledge will do well. Just in particular, notice that in this the Barrier Command, there is only one 24-hour station, that is Broken Hill. And that's the only one that does have a first response or minimum staff agreements. They do have minor ones in Denton where they have longer ones, but it'd be a great benefit for the western part of New South Wales, where this would be a godsend to attract police and to bring police out here, and just to give the community a little bit more confidence that the police are doing their job, which they are doing. It's just good to see more people on the beat. Thank you, Mayor Kennedy.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Any other speakers? Just to say, look, this has been brought forward by the Country Mayors Association. So this is really speaking on behalf of regional New South Wales. It's obviously something that not only affects our areas such as Menindee, Tibooburra, Wilcannia, etc., but it also affects other parts of the states that are a little bit further away from us but face the exact same rate of potential crime that can be delayed by being responded to by not having those 24-hour police stations. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Mayoral minute, item number 1 as fourth mayoral minute, but supplementary agenda. Mayoral minute number 2323 dated October 25, 2023. Be received that council provides reasonable administrative, financial and in-kind support to the South Village Association to enable their 2023 event to go ahead in Patton Park. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconder, Councillor Turley. This is a really good outcome. There was some doubt that the Patton in the Christmas in Patton Park would not go ahead. Council has worked really strongly to ensure that they are provided with administrative support to ensure that any difficulty in fulfilling out risk assessments, etc., can be done. But council will also contribute financially towards things like first aid, payments for different things, hiring, bin collection, etc. Do we have any speakers?
Sorry,
Councillor
Mayor.
Turley.
This is a good outcome, and I was very pleased with this. I think everybody loves the Patton Village Christmas event, and for council to be able to work closely with the Patton Village and to provide this support is excellent. And perhaps we could put in some process that we don't have to go down this path in the future.
Councillor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Mayor Kennedy, I'd just like to say congratulations to yourself and to our general manager, who were right onto it first thing as soon as and there's a lot of misquotes in the paper and things and that about council's actions and everything, and you both backed it up very quickly and sorted out all the anomalies and got underway with it, and well done, job well done.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Just a verbal mayoral minute. Verbal mayoral minute to thank Minister Tanya Plibersek for not only coming to Broken Hill to meet with stakeholders to do with the Murray-Darling Basin water, which was really good, met with a number of people, spent quite a few hours, not only with the council, but other stakeholders, but also her commitment to follow up on aged care, and quickly understood the importance of Broken Hill being categorised as Monash Model 6, as opposed modified Monash Model number 6, as opposed to a 3. She quickly realised how important that is, and will follow up directly with the Minister for Aged Care. So thank you to her. We have a seconder for that, Councillor Hickey. You'd like to speak to that, Councillor Hickey?
I would just to say that she certainly did acknowledge what you said about the aged care, because she brought up with me today, eminently, she made mention of it and said she will follow it up. So
yeah, thank you. Look, really important, and just from a personal view, the minister was very forthcoming, very into listening, very into following up on what was said, and that wasn't just with the water, that was in general with anything that was said in the meeting she had with the council. So I just, you probably couldn't get a better response from a minister that's just come to town. She also went to, I should mention this as well, she also opened, went to the Trades Hall to announce the support from the federal government about the listing on the international stage for our Trades Hall in conjunction with the Melbourne Trades Hall. Really excited for that as well. It's a really important one that if we do get it over the line, it'll be great for Broken Hill, and great to acknowledge our trades union movement and the building where a lot of that went on. And I'm also proud to say that we actually have that acknowledgement at the beginning of each meeting. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We have nil notices of motion, nil rescission motions, nil reports from delegates. We move to item number 14, which is the Health and Building Committee. Item number 1 is correspondence report, Broken Hill Environmental Lead Program. We have a mover for that.
I'll move that way.
Move councillor Brown, seconded councillor
Seconded.
Boland. Councillor Brown.
Well, it's good news, Mr. Mayor. It's very pleasing to see that, well, I would think at least partly because of the many representations that have been made to government and opposition at various times over the incredibly important need for funding now and in the future have been listened to. So we just have to still keep on their backs. So it's not forgotten that it is very good news.
Yes, thank you, councillor Brown. Any other speakers? Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Just to follow on councillor Brown's comments, it certainly is important to the city, and I was doing some research around the effects of lead on children to forward some information onto some people I know in Sydney, and it's certainly if it's not addressed and not watched and dealt with properly, it can certainly create a lot of issues within our local children, and government at all levels need to understand the effects that lead can have on children, and this is a step in the right direction, and they also need to acknowledge the wealth that's come out of Broken Hill, and they need to look after the city that's created that wealth as well.
Sure. Any other speakers?
Just,
Councillor Allgate.
just a question, Mr. Mayor Kennedy. On page, I'm not sure what it is now, on page 58, Premier Min's response, the second paragraph says, in June, my government approved funding for the critical work of the Broken Hill Environmental Lead Program for years 23, 24 and 24, 25. There's a line through the top sentence on my, does that mean it wasn't?
Just a photocopy error, councillor Allgate.
So it was, funding is proven.
It has been approved. Yeah, it's
Oh,
been
well,
approved.
well, that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And I agree with what the other speakers have said.
Just to say, look, but we can't stop on this though. It was really positive when we met with the Premier's cabinet. What they were talking about, it was even potentially funding council to employ people to ensure that we potentially maybe have grass curbs, grass footpaths to have a physical barrier between lead, dust and children. It's we can continue to test, we continue to have remedial work done in particular homes, but the reality is that we have considerably high lead levels in soil in many parts of the city, and the only way to stop that from blowing into people's houses is to have a physical barrier, whether that be vegetation or some other form of barrier. So for this council, it doesn't stop there. Over 90% of lead levels raised in children come from areas like Broken Hill. So we need to make sure that Broken Hill is given the exact same consideration as if this was to happen in Sydney, because if it was to happen in Sydney, I can assure you it wouldn't be a couple of $1 million as we saw with some of the other places where they'd found just minor raising in lead in the soil in those areas. We need to keep on fighting. This is a good start, and we'll continue with that group to ensure that they do understand that we need a long-term plan that actually stops children coming into contact with lead contaminated soil, not just monitor them once they have and then do work to reduce the lead levels in those children. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2 is minutes of the Friends and Floor. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Brown, seconded. Councillor Turley. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak to that? No, just minutes. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item policy in general. Committee, item number 1 is Local Government Remunerations Tribunal. Councillor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Brown, Councillor Hickey.
Yeah, look, I'd agree with that, and I think we should send a submission. And to set the fee as a fixed fee for per category for all councils, rather than councillors have to make a decision themselves to give themselves a pay rise or to not give themselves a pay rise. I think it's totally unfair to do that and to put that pressure on each councillor. You try and do the best by your city, but you also then lose out yourself, and it does cost quite a bit of money to be a councillor. And I know we don't come here, and I've said it before, we don't come here for the money. However, and I know your out-of-pocket stuff is paid, but you do spend a lot of hours, and I just think it's unfair that they put the responsibility back onto the councillors to make their own wage. And I think we should send a submission to that effect.
And look, it's been made clear by the community. The community doesn't want councillors increasing wages regardless of what the review panel says. So it really needs to be a set amount that each category has, and instead of an upper and a lower limit. Councillor Brown, I know this is important to you.
Well, I'd absolutely agree with the points that councillor Hickey made. I think it is important. I think as far as I'm aware, local government is the only level of government where, you know, you're faced with this question and decision every time the tribunal makes a recommendation. I think at state and federal level, I think those amounts are set by the remuneration tribunal that operates in those areas too. So they don't have to, you know, they may have to put up with the flack of, you know, people not wanting politicians of any kind to be paid anything. But I think it is unfair. I think I've always thought it's very unfair for councillors to have to make a decision like this. The tribunal, you know, goes to great pains to look at the extent of the responsibilities of councils at various levels, and we have been sort of stepped up one level because of the additional responsibilities we have as a you know, a regional centre here, and that's kind of reflected in the complexity of the decisions that we have to make. So I would certainly endorse the idea that wherever that, I assume it's I'm not sure who would make the decision about this. I assume it would be a state government decision, but I think we need to find out, you know, who, where this submission should go and make a very strong case for it. Maybe it's something, I don't know, that I don't know. Councillor Turley may be able to tell us whether it's something that's been dealt with by local government New South Wales in recent years. I know it's something that other councils have contended with.
Yeah. Councillor Turley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And local government New South Wales has certainly made a submission regarding this, and we certainly agree that councillors shouldn't have to determine a pay rise. It should be set by the tribunal, and that, you know, it's no other organisation determines your own pay rise. It's just unheard of. We will never attract, you know, younger people, if I say younger, because I'm very young, but younger people to run for council when they realise the cost of leaving their work to participate is far greater than they expect. It's always been our argument around this process, and that for all of us, you know, we've heard the concerns by the community about why they don't think that this council should get a pay rise, but I don't think people understand the work, as Councillor, the Deputy Mayor has said, the work over and above that's given. But we have certainly, local government New South Wales has certainly put in a submission asking that, you know, that the tribunal be the ones responsible for appointing the pay rise, not the council itself.
Thank you, Councillor Turley. All those in, Councillor Gallagher? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2 is disclosures by councillors and designated persons returns. We have
Move,
Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Brown, Councillor Allgate.
I think it's all written in the recommendation and the report. It's really a legislative matter and a common sense matter that councils have to disclose their interests prior to making decisions each year. And it's obviously a way to avoid pecuniary interest problems or complaints being received. So all councillors have done what they had to do, and that resolves the issue.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other councillor? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3 is the adoption of the reviewed intellectual property policy. We have a mover for that.
I'll move that way.
Move councillor Boland, seconded councillor Brown. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. All written there. It's just a normal procedure to review policy. The last time it was reviewed in 2015, so it's part of a organisational wide review of the council policy registers, so the community can be certain that the council policies are reviewed on a regular basis.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is the adoption of the revised draft workplace health safety policy. We have a mover for that. Move councillor Jewett, seconded councillor Chandler. Councillor Jewett.
Yeah, just it's only a minor change, so I don't see it needs to go to public, but it's definitely overdue.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5 is the draft mandatory notification of data breach policy. Moved
Move that way.
councillor Hickey, seconded councillor Chandler. Councillor Hickey.
Just move as written.
Just move as written. Any speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 6 is the section 355 annual financial reports 2022-23. We have a mover for that.
Move that way.
Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Allgate.
Just to add comment that 3 of the 12 355 committees have met their requirements in providing the annual reports and financial report, and apparently there are 9 still outstanding, but after talking to some staff members, I understand that the staff are working with the others to have theirs finalised and produced very soon.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Just to let everyone know, the council does, council management works closely with 355 committees to give them any help that's needed if they are struggling to fulfil their requirements with the financial reports. Any other speakers? No, all in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 7 is nomination for appointment and resignation of community representatives to section 355 Community Committee.
Move that way.
Councillor Hickey, seconded. Councillor
Seconded.
Gallagher. Councillor Hickey.
Mayor Kennedy, move as written. And just like to acknowledge that Mr. Ken Kennedy did a lot of work out there with the rugby league and everything with that oval and E.T. Lamb Oval, and was really good thank you to him for all his years of work. And welcome to Brooke Mallison and Dale Sanderson for going on to the committees. Thank you.
Excellent. Councillor Gallagher.
I just echo the comments of Mayor Hickey. Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Yeah, for sure. As both Councillor Hickey, Deputy Mayor Hickey and Councillor Gallagher know, Ken Kennedy was instrumental, well, not more than instrumental, was the person that actually got rugby league going again in Broken Hill with the help of myself, Councillor Gallagher and Councillor Hickey. But Ken Kennedy did do a lot of work, and for a long time the rugby league was very, very successful. But part of that was rugby league taking on the oval, the Lamb Oval. So the Lamb Oval became virtually the rugby oval in Broken Hill, and it's still to this day. It is used for ladies rugby. And I believe you're still on the committee, Councillor Gallagher,
Yes, I am.
and it's still going well.
Yeah, startup was like last year was the first year they had nine games going through to the finals, which was good, male and female, which is good to see.
Yeah, excellent. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 8 is the investment report for September. Councillor
I'll
Boland,
move that way.
seconded.
Second that way.
Councillor Chandler. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. All written in the report. Lots of global issues right now affecting the markets. Obviously, we've got a couple of wars happening as well. And it's a 50-50 chance of another interest rate rise on Melbourne Cup Day as well, with the headline inflation figures out this morning.
Councillor Boland, I've got to say that a lot of our money is actually in term deposits, which means we're pretty lucky. No matter what happens, we're going to do quite well out of our investments. So thank you to council and thank you to the finance minister. Finance minister will give you an upgrade, Simon, and to the general manager. Councillor Allgate.
Oh, I just wanted to comment, as I did at the committee meeting, Mayor Kennedy, that amongst all the doom and gloom, the council has in September invested $3 million at better than 5% interest rate. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, for sure. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 1 is sale of Shorty O'Neill Village Council Resolutions Report, 2013 to 15. We have moved that.
Move that way.
Deputy Mayor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Allgate, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thanks, Mayor Kennedy. I'll move that as written, but there's quite a few anomalies in there and things that I'd like to bring up to the public. When the Shorty O'Neill Village was
Make it easier.
wrong, yeah, at the bottom of the page, yeah.
Just as you're talking about it, make it easier.
Read this, yeah.
Yeah, so page 1.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 196, yeah.
196.
Yep. There was a valuation, this is on the sale of Shorty O'Neill Village. Council meeting held on the 26th of August 15. Valuation of the property was prepared by Heron Todd and White, attached to the report, of between 1.6 million and 1.9 million, which I can tell you as a valuer, it's most unusual for a valuer to put a range. A valuer usually puts a figure and sticks by that, not a range of $300,000, which is a fair range. Real estate agents do that, valuers don't. Then there are sales estimates from 4 real estate agents of 1,620,000, next one of 1,700,000 to 1,900,000, third one of 1,300,000 to 1,500,000, and the fourth one from 2,100,000 to 2,200,000. Given the valuation from Heron Todd White, the sales estimates from the local real estate agents and the financial estimates, the report was made by council to sale for a sale price of 1.6 million. Based on the sale price 1.6, the total cost of commission from First National would be 26,181, and it was to be sold by public auction. It didn't reach the reserve price at public auction of 1.6 million. Why you would ever go to 1.6 when he said 1.6 to 1.9? You usually go to the highest figure and work your way down, not go to the last figure and work your way up. That's never happened in real estate. And it was not sold at auction. And I can't find anywhere in here where it was approved by council for it to go to private sale, to negotiated sale. There's nowhere in here that it says that. The figure was then sold for 1,155,000 in September, and its contracts were signed in September of 2016.
That's 198.
198. Again, as I say, I can't find anywhere where that was approved, or the figure didn't come back to council and was approved for that, even though it was sold at that. I can't find anywhere that says it. It also says in here on the same page that the estimate sale price had been sought from 5 valuers. It wasn't. It was from 1 valuer and from 4 real estate agents, which is, then they say from 1.3 to 2.2. Well, there's a huge variance in that, but that's between real estate agents. And then it was settled in the December after a new council had taken over. But again, I think it should have been well and truly questioned about why this was accepted and why they're allowed to do that. And then, drop it back to 1,155,000 without any council approval. Come back through to the workings on page 199. And it says here that, allowing for CPI, that 2016 figure to June 2023, that the income from, if we owned it now, would be 655,000. They've taken off depreciation. Well, you don't take depreciation off when you work on the sale of a building. You just, that doesn't come in. So on that, at a 9% return, with the buildings now would be worth 6,911,000. They would be worth a lot more to us council if we own them still. And that's just a criticism on the council at the time, because it was a silly idea to sell them. there was no reason to sell them. There's things in here where they make a loss, where you can write anything in to say a loss. They've added the depreciation of 230,000 in to show a loss. Well, you don't do that. You just don't write that in. It's not a monetary loss. It's a figure. It's a book figure loss. So you know, I can be really critical of that. And that's about all I can say about it. Thank you.
Just a big concern on that depreciation, and this is something that we did bring up in the audit and risk, is the depreciation calculated on a replacement building. Is that right? Yeah. So councillors in the future need to take that into account when you see a depreciation value of 280,000 and then it sells for only 4 times that. You're depreciating your building very quickly, but for local government, the way depreciations work is depreciation's calculated on the replacement value of the building. So that would have been over a 50-year period, I guess, for 280,000. Yeah. So, you know, you're 50 years times 300,000, you're looking at $17 million worth of building if we were to replace that. And that's what councillors should have taken into account when they were making that decision. Another concern I had was the vacancy rate of 20% was calculated in the figure to come up with whether it was a loss or making money, even taking out the depreciation, using a 20% vacancy rate when the councillors, all councillors at the time, and the councillors previous to that understood that there would be very little vacancy rate at Shorty O'Neill Village, because most councillors knew that it was about a 30-year waiting list to get in there in the independent living areas that were currently used at that facility. So there was never going to be a 20% vacancy rate, and it was used to dodge up the figures to make sure that it become a loss so that council would sell it or could convince the public it was worth selling. The other question, and I'll put this one to the general manager if he doesn't mind, and I assume that there isn't, because there isn't one here. Was there ever a resolution to sell it private trading?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Before my time, but doing the research for these reports, the last resolution, the council was to sell at auction at that reserve price, and we couldn't find any subsequent council resolutions for the private tradie. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. So the other question, I'd hope that Councillor Turley might be able to shine some light on it. I assume that contracts were signed before you become mayor in September.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't become mayor until 2016.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is 2016. So
No,
September
that's what I
2000,
thought at the time.
2000. So in September 2016, the contracts were signed. So that would have been still probably the current mayor of that time. In December 2016 is when it was transferred, when you were well and truly mayor, December 2016. As the mayor, did you ever see any correspondence or that it was acceptable with you sold at private trading as
No.
opposed to auction?
No,
Did you ever follow up about that?
no, because I'm sure the paperwork was signed before.
Yeah, so it was
became mayor.
signed in September, which means it was probably just
Yeah.
before you were elected
Yeah.
as mayor, but it wasn't finished until December 2016. Never occurred to you that it was the last resolution of council was for it to be sold at auction, not by private treaty, sold at 500,000 below the highest, lowest reserve, and 800,000 below the reserve that was put on the books by council.
As I said, Mayor, it was before my time.
No, it's not before your time. Here, the report says quite clearly, September 2016, and you were a councillor at the time. You then become mayor in September 2016. This page, not 199, Councillor Turley.
All the minutes I'm looking at are from 2000.
Yeah, so current market analysis, assumptions
Thank you.
used.
I'll have a
current-
look. I'll take it on notice.
Thank you, Councillor Turley. Any other speakers?
I had plenty to say at the time, Mayor Kennedy, as you well know. And some things still bother me, not the least of which is the colourful financial figures that were put before us time and time again. On occasions, they forgot to put $500,000 and $600,000 license fees in, and things like that. But what really concerned me that was for 19 years, Shorty O'Neill Village operated at a profit. On occasions, a very good profit. And then all of a sudden, overnight, it went from a profitable organisation to one that was originally thought to lose about $200,000, but finished up something like $500,000 or $600,000, given the figures we were given at the time. Prior to the sale, we were told that long before the decision was made to actually sell it, we were told by the then general manager that it was in the council's interest and obviously in the employees' interest to change the award structure or the award payments to Shorty O'Neill Village staff from the aged care system to the Broken Hill Allowance. And we were given the impression at the time that it wouldn't drastically damage the financial operation of the Civic Centre, of the Shorty O'Neill Village. Then we found out that changing the awards from one award to the other added $400,000 to the operating costs of the Shorty O'Neill Village overnight. And it certainly did change the operation costs. But I still, to this day, I don't understand why for 19 years it operated successfully and in a profit situation, and then overnight it turned into a disaster, if you believed all the figures. I maintain the figures are not right. Things like, I can recall that both you and I as councillors, we put forward the proposition in desperation that it be operated as an independent living unit, as it is now. We were told, and it's in the report here, we were told that, oh, by the time you have to change the titles, do all the separately meter the water and the electricity and so on and so on and so on, it was going to work out to the council running it would be at a $60,000 loss. Well, I think the people who bought it are making a little bit more than $60,000 a year. Something like their income's around about $800,000 the way I'm told. And I would suggest that their overheads are pretty minimal. So the figures are just questionable at the very minimum. I think it's a sad day when the $300,000 was thrown in as a depreciation figure, which in many ways is a paper figure, and that added to the deficit and frightened people. I'm just disappointed that the whole thing happened, and I still, as long as I live, I don't think I'll understand why. The only thing I can put it down to is the fact that there was some unbelievable colourful accounting over a period of time that sank the village forever.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Any other speakers? Councillor Jewett. Councillor Brown, who was first? Councillor Brown, come to you, Councillor Jewett. Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think hindsight's a wonderful thing, but this wasn't just a property issue or a financial issue. This was an issue involving the health and welfare, both of our staff and the residents. I don't know whether you can recall, but I certainly can. One of the very compelling reasons, and I know we didn't get a report which detailed the reasons why council, the recommendation was that council was no longer in a position with its the staffing resources and with work health and safety issues with staff working at night, walking around the block, if you recall, the staff delivering meals and delivering medical services to an increasingly frail resident population who were in many cases aging in place as the government kind of is encouraging all of us to do, but whose medical and welfare needs were really not easily to be catered for. This was this very similar arguments were used at the time as those that we've heard in this chamber a couple of months ago when we were looking at taking on childcare. I mean, council isn't in a position, doesn't have the staffing resources to run this. It wasn't just a property issue. This was the care of very vulnerable people and council staff that council had a responsibility for. A very different property market too. And when one of those reports does remind us that there were no bidders the first time. Council at the time, as I recall, was very concerned that someone would buy the village and use it for something that, you know, unrelated to aged care needs. So it was a bonus. It was regarded as a bonus at the time that the eventual buyer was prepared to use it for aged care, as that was seen. But it's amazing the difference that that time has brought to property values here and the way we look at accommodation. It was very, very different times indeed.
Councillor Jewett.
Yeah, well, this thing did drag out for almost 4 years, over 4 years. So I don't know where the urgency was in that, but it is disappointing. And I'd just like to say that hopefully our current council can see ramifications of certain decisions without looking into them. And any future people joining council would think twice.
Very well said, Councillor Jewett. Any other speakers? You wouldn't like to contest that the 1.6 million to 1.9 million value was pretty clear what it was valued at the time? As a value,
It was most certainly, and that was undervalued at 1.9, and I know because, and I'll tell you for why. I did a valuation at the time for council and it's gone missing. It's never, not a part of it. It was never produced to council. I was requested by the general manager to do a valuation at the time, but there's never any mention of it. And you can see that I was never invited as a real estate agent to put a tender in or anything. And that was his reasoning when I rang, was that because I had done a valuation and therefore I wasn't eligible to be acted as a real estate agent as well, which is fine. So I accept that, but where's my valuation nowadays? It's just not here. And I can tell you it was well over 2 million. And
okay.
that was just on a general market basis. It wasn't keeping it as aged care or anything else. The licenses were being sold off, so it wasn't staying as aged care. That 44-bed license was gone, and therefore it would have come back to the public, whoever wanted to buy it, as an investment to do whatever they like with it, not in aged care. And you could have it as a retirement village, have whatever you like, whatever you're going to get your highest rent for. And at $1 million or 1,155,000, it's the steal of the bloody century for mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'd agree you don't need much hindsight to know that was a silly decision.
No.
Exactly. Shorty O'Neill Village, just on, it's a little bit separate about what we're talking about. Shorty O'Neill Village was always rated very high and met all accreditation standards, always met the accreditation standards, and was often patted on the back for meeting such high standards. Not only did the cost of that facility pay for and break even, a lot of the money also went to administration costs, which was used to actually offload some of the operational costs of council. But even taking that aside and forgetting that, whether argue that the Shorty O'Neill Village should have ceased to be an aged care provider, which I could honestly see that there's arguments for that as things changed. It made it very difficult to get around that building, etc. What we're talking about here today was we had a building that valued at 1.9 million that was to be sold at auction and was sold by private treaty for 1.1 million. Now, that's not a decision any councillor in this room should be defending. That's not hindsight. The report says there, right there, that there was a motion to move between 1.6 and 1.9 million at auction. It was sold by private treaty for 1.1 million 50,000. So that's what we're talking about. And to say hindsight comes into play is silly. The report also goes on to talk about one of the reasons it needed to be sold so quickly was because of council's financial position and how desperate we were to get into a position. And there was a restructure done, a restructure to save council. We're still paying for it today. Council, we have a general manager here that's trying to fix a decision that was made back into restructure back then that left the council short in many areas and overworked in other areas. It was a silly restructure, terrible restructure from the council at the time, and we're still paying for it to this day. Hindsight is a fine thing, so is foresight. Foresight to think about what the ramifications of the decisions you make on the night. That's what I hope this council does, is think about the future, not always think, oh, we got it wrong. That was hindsight. Think in the future what some of your decisions would be, could do. $230,000 for depreciation. Only a fool would think that you'd take into account a figure of 230,000 per year on depreciation when you're looking at selling an asset for $1 million. Who in finance thinks that that's a reason? When any councillor here that's doing this want to not put up their hand for the next time because you're going to let the city down. All those in favour?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Was Councillor Hickey doing a right of reply? Then I just wanted to comment about the issue about accreditation. You would recall how the Commonwealth accreditors came in and wanted to close this down. You would recall how they were very concerned, to the point they made a meeting with all the councillors and they threatened us about the state of Shorty O'Neill. You would recall how desperate we were to keep it open over the Christmas period. And it certainly was a critical issue. It's not in the report, which we're surprised about, but it certainly wasn't. I know Councillor Gallagher was there, Councillor Brown was there. It was a place when they pointed out we had patients with dementia without any security for them, a time when they pointed out all the health issues, that there was a division in the council. Some were talking about money, the majority were talking about the state of our patients. And that's one of the things of great concern. Thank you for that.
Again, I'll say this report is about council accepting 1.1 million at private treaty as opposed to the motion that was passed a reserve between 1.6 and 1.9 million. As Councillor Hickey, Deputy Mayor Hickey said, if you get a valuation between 1.6 and 1.9, you go to auction at 1.9 million. That is your reserve. That's what you start at. That you don't start at 1.6. Say, oh, we'll take a 300,000. Not only do you not take a 300,000 reduction, you take another $500,000 reduction on that. That's what this report's about. We can argue all we like about that, but as you can see in the report, the bed licence was sold well before the buildings were sold. And nowhere in this report do I see the report you're talking about, Councillor Turley. I wasn't on council at that time. Before that, no, I wasn't. I wasn't elected in 2012. I wasn't elected in 2012. So before that, council often met its accreditation. In here, the only thing I saw in here was concern about sprinklers and firewalls. All those in favour? All those in favour? Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Brown, carried unanimously. Item number 2, Warnock Street Depot final 100% technical design. We have a mover for that. Moved Councillor Chandler, seconded Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Chandler.
Yeah, this development's been long overdue, probably 30, 40 years. It's fantastic design. It's a big plus for the council, their attitude, and the workers down there who'll appreciate going to work in such a well thought out place. And it will probably set Broken Hill up as a place to watch for looking after their workers, the general population. Very central to town. And it's one of the best things that's happened here for ages.
Thank you, councillor Chandler. Any other speakers? Councillor Brown?
Just a question, Mr Mayor. I'm wondering why it's going to take till 2037 to finish this.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Through you. It's a staged project purely on the basis of cost. It's a $40 million project to go through the demolition and construction of all the particular buildings out there. So that's why it's been staged over a long-term plan that can actually work into our asset management plans and something that council could sustainably finance over a period of time to complete. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. I'd just like to say, look, as a council, part of making sure you can build a workforce is having somewhere nice for the workforce to work. Very difficult to employ top line mechanics, carpenters, builders, etc., without having a place where they want to work. It's one of the big things that has been an issue in the past, and people have commented on just how bad that building is. When first elected to council in 1999, shown through the works depot and how bad it was then and how it needed to be replaced. 24 years later, same things, only 24 years older. So this is really about making sure that we can grow and build our workforce, what we all aim, and there isn't a councillor in this room that hasn't said that they want to see council actually start to do the roads and expand out of doing local roads into doing the state roads and tendering for other jobs. So part of growing that is to make sure that you have the facilities that people want to work in. Do you have any others, Councillor Gallagher?
Yeah, just very quickly, Mayor Kennedy. I totally agree with what you're saying too. Our workforce now go to work out to the depot, and they work under conditions which are not 100%, but they go to work, they do a great job. This is an asset to them when I go to work to enjoy themselves to a state-of-the-art workshop. And I think this is going to be a benefit to attract more staff and to keep the staff who we have active and happy to come to work to do a good job.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3 is Broken Hill Lead Reference Group Minutes. Councillor Brown.
The recommendation.
Councillor Allgate moves, seconded. Councillor Brown. Councillor Allgate.
Oh, the meeting minutes tell us all that's taking place, and it seems as if you read through the minutes, it seems as if we're making inroads into keeping the lead levels at the required level, but it's the sort of thing that you have to keep on top of it all the time. It's ongoing. It's never going to, whilst there's mining and whilst there's residue dumps and whilst there's earth moving, there's going to be problems with lead dust in the air. And this committee has now been funded or guaranteed funded through 24-25, which is a good thing. And I think the results will pay off in the long term.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Councillor Brown.
The only thing that I would add to this and also to the comments that were made previously with the other item is that as with a lot of other things, there have been some problems with staff shortages at Murramah, I think particularly, keeping the volume of testing up. But I suppose that's one of those things that hopefully will be able to be dealt with, but is a bit of an issue at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Brown. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is the local traffic committee meeting. Councillor Brown. Yeah, seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr Mayor, the recommendations are there, but I'll just, I suppose, mention that there was quite a bit of discussion about possible risks that the very popular walk tour groups may be running with the current way they walk around the main city blocks there without particularly at the roundabout on Glen Street, Bromide Street roundabout there near the visitor information centre. There are, great crowds of walking tour people crossing over several times a day. So the committee is looking at ways to either, maybe suggest another route or another crossing of that. But that's one of the items that the traffic committee is looking at the moment. That's probably of most interest.
I did notice in the report they were talking about a zebra crossing, but it wouldn't meet the So just for anyone listening, the zebra crossing was mentioned for that risk assessment, but too risky having that there.
Yeah, just too close to the corner there.
Yeah.
With traffic turning left there. It's a bit, they wouldn't necessarily be looking at someone crossing.
Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5, the action list. Councillor Gallagher.
Yes, I move that way.
Yeah. Seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Gallagher.
Yeah, there's a little bit of green in there, far too much amber for me, but it seems to be getting things done. So it's a credit to the staff.
Well done, Councillor Nolan. Just to keep his memory alive. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Questions taken on notice from the last meeting. Do we have a mover for that? Move Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Chandler. Councillor Allgate? Nothing. Questions arising? All those in favour, sorry. Carried unanimously. Item 17, questions for the next meeting. Do we have any questions for the next meeting? No. Public forum session. The second public forum session of 15 minutes duration will consider submissions from the public regarding matters that were considered by council at this meeting only. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes each to address councillor. Do we have any? No? All good. Item number 19 is confidential matters. We only have 2 items, so it shouldn't take long if people do want to stay around. Do we have a call or motion to move into closed session?
Move that way.
Move Councillor Eckie, seconded Councillor Turley. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
We're glad you were quick. It's cold out.
Yeah. For summer, not quite summer. Just pass over to General Manager to read out the resolutions passed in closed session.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Council resolved in confidential item 1, Civic Centre litigation dispute mediation position paper. Council resolved 1, the Broken Hill City Council report number 210/23 dated October 18, 2023 be received. 2, the council delegate the general manager authority to negotiate within the recommended mediation settlement range as presented in the below report in conjunction with council's legal counsel. 3, the council delegate the mayor and general manager to sign all relevant documents if mediation is successful to settle the matter within the prescribed financial range. 4, that a further report be presented to council providing an update and outcome of the mediation. Item 2, tender 2T3/39, technical design of airside pavement at Broken Hill Airport. Council resolved 1, the Broken Hill City Council report number 211/23 dated October 18, 2023 be received. And 2, the Broken Hill City Council award tender T23/39 to Tonkin Consulting Proprietary Limited for the technical design of airside pavement at Broken Hill Airport, including provision of geotechnical and surveying service for the total price of $576,473, excluding GST. Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
General Manager. That brings the council meeting to a close. Thank you, everyone, for their attendance.